Okay, to begin, we are going to start with a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and I have number 4 medium weight yarn. We are going to begin with a slip knot. Then we will chain 3. We will make a circle. This is the 3 to 6 year size. So for the 3 to 6 year size, we are going to do 11 cluster stitches in this magic circle. So a cluster stitch, you yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert into the magic circle again, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So that is 1 cluster stitch. We are going to do 10 more. So let's go over that again. Yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go back into the magic circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 3 loops. One more time. Yarn over, insert into the magic circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, insert into the magic circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so we have 3 magic circles, or 3 cluster stitches into the magic circle. So we need to do a total of 11. And like I said, this is the 3 to 6 year size. And for this hat today, I am using a yellow color yarn, a soft yellow. However, definitely you can make it white. That is actually my more popular one. However, I have an Etsy order for the yellow, so here I am making this video for you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So one more. Okay, we're gonna pull tight. Pull as tight as you can without breaking the yarn. Then in our first cluster stitch, we are going to slip stitch, chain 3, and then we are going to do 2 cluster stitches into each stitch around. And when I do this, I crochet right over top of the tail so that when the hat is done, I do not have to take that extra step to getting out my yarn needle and weaving that in. Okay, so do 2 cluster stitches into each stitch around, and I will meet you guys back here when I am done. Okay, I'm just finishing up my last cluster stitch from that first row. Now we are going to slip stitch into the first cluster stitch. We are going to chain 3. In this row, we are going to do 2 cluster stitches in the first stitch, 1 cluster stitch in the next stitch, and then we're going to do 2 cluster stitches in the next, and 1 cluster stitch in the following. And we are going to repeat this pattern until we reach the beginning. Okay, so I just finished up my last cluster stitch of that row. I am now going to slip stitch, chain 3, and for this row we're going to do 2 cluster stitches in the first stitch and then 1 cluster stitch in the next 2 stitches. So there's our 2 cluster stitches in the same stitch, and then we're going to do 1 cluster stitch. There's the first stitch and 1 cluster stitch in the next stitch. And then we're going to do 2 cluster stitches in the same stitch. And then we'll do 1 cluster stitch in the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2. And one more time. So 2 cluster stitches in this first stitch in the same stitch. And then 1 cluster stitch in the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2. Okay, and I'll meet you guys back here after I finish this row. Okay, so I just finished my final cluster stitch. I'm going to slip stitch, chain 3. Okay, so we are going to do 1 cluster stitch into each stitch around, and we are going to do this for until we reach row 9. So for 9 rows, well, 9 rows total. So right now we're on the 5th row. So rows 5 through 9, we're going to do 1 cluster stitch into each stitch around, and I will meet you back here when I complete my 9th row, and then we are going to change to our turquoise yarn to make the crown. Okay, so I just finished my 9th row of 1 cluster stitch into each stitch around. I am now going to cut my yarn, leave a little bit of a tail, and then I'm going to add in my turquoise yarn, and we're going to add this with a slip stitch. We are going to chain 1, and then we are in the next stitch, not the same stitch, but the next stitch we are going to do, so not in this stitch, but the next stitch we are going to do 2 single crochets, and then we are going to do 1 single crochet in the next, and then we'll do 2 single crochets, and then we'll do 1 single crochet, and we're going to do this all the way around until we meet the beginning. However, from this point on, we are not going to slip stitch and chain any. We are going to work in the round. From this point on, there will be no making rows. And again, I always crochet over my tails. Just make sure that you pull those tight as you go over them, and then once you go over them, you can pull this and you cannot tell where your ends were. Okay, so let's keep on going here. And for this brand of yarn, now I'm using Red Heart. Okay, just doing 2 single crochets. Now I'm going to do a half double crochet in this last stitch, and then I'm going to do half double crochet all the way around. And we're going to do this for a total of 4 rows. So just half double crochet all the way around, and you're just going to continue. And right now it looks like a pretty drastic move here, but once we get a couple of rows in there, that will disappear. So I'll meet you guys back here when I'm done with my 4 half double crochet rows. Okay, so now I have completed 4 rows of the half double crochet. So now I'm gonna flop over to the back of my hat. And this is the row where we are going to begin our crown. So to do that, we are going to insert our hook. So here's the back of the hat, and we are going to insert around the post. So let me show you. So up here would be this post, and then below that would be the turquoise post. So we definitely want to go into the turquoise yarn. Go back a few stitches from where this is, just because right here at our joining, it's a little weird though, so we can go back here a little bit. And we are going to do a slip stitch. Also for this here, leave a pretty good tail, and you will see why in just a little bit. So slip stitch in the same stitch, we're going to do our first single crochet. We are going to do 1 single crochet all the way around. And I'm going to show you guys again where we are going. So we are wrapping around the post there. Okay, and I'll meet you back here once I am done with my 1 single crochet all the way around. Okay, so I'm just finishing up my last couple single crochets here. Okay, that is my final one. We are going to slip stitch into our first single crochet that we did. In the next stitch, we are going to do a single crochet in the next stitch. And now, just so that we are clear, so here is the single crochets that we just made. If you can see, they are like a ribbon, kind of, I guess you could call it. They stick out from the rest of the hat. So those are what we are working in. So anyways, we did a slip stitch, we did a single crochet. In the next stitch, we are going to do a half double crochet. In the next stitch, we are going to do a double crochet. In the next stitch, we are going to do 2 triple crochets in the next stitch. So we have 1 triple crochet, and in the same stitch, we are going to do a second triple crochet. Then in the next stitch, we are going to do 1 triple crochet. Now at this point, we are going to turn. We are going to yarn over, and in that first stitch there, we are going to insert, and we are going to pull up until we have 9 loops on our hook. I believe it's 5 times. So right now we have 3, 4, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one more time. And then we are going to yarn over and pull through all 9 of those loops. We are going to then chain 1, turn our work back. We're going to do a triple crochet in the same stitch as our last triple crochet. So 1 triple crochet, double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. Okay, that is our first crown. Let's move on to our second crown so I can demonstrate this again just in case it was a lot to take in the first one. So we are going to slip stitch, we are going to single crochet, we are then going to half double crochet, we're going to double crochet, we will do 2 triple crochets in the same stitch. So 1, second one in the same stitch, 1 triple crochet in the next stitch. We now turn our work and we do 9, where we have 9 loops on our hook. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yarn over, pull through all 9 stitches, chain 1. Turn our work, we will do a treble crochet in the same stitch as our last treble crochet. We will then do a double crochet, then a half double crochet, a single crochet, and then a slip stitch. Okay, from this point on, I'm going to continue my pattern until I reach the very beginning. And I will meet you guys back here to show you how we add the hair and what I do with the crowns from this point on. Okay, so I finished with my last crown, and again for this I cut a long tail, and I use these to secure. I don't like the crowns being loose on the hat, so I actually secure these to the hat to stay in place. Okay, so for the hair, I'm down in a different position now because I want you guys to see how I cut the hair. I'm only going to do a couple of these, but what I do is I take the yarn, and as long as I can stretch my arms out, I like the yarn to be pretty long. So I just stretch it out as long as I can, and that is how I cut the hair. And a really good hint, if you have 2 things of the same color of yarn, take them both out and do 2 strands at a time. So for the hat, I believe this hat is approximately 60 stitches around, so we will need 60 pieces of yarn, but like I said, I believe it's about 60. I think it's right around there somewhere. So I'm gonna cut my yarn, and then I will come back to show you guys how I attach it, how I braid it, and then how I attach the crowns to the hat. Okay, I got my 60 pieces of hair. Now to attach this, I am going to weave this in so that it doesn't get in the way, but I will wait just a minute because I actually don't have a yarn needle handy. But what we do here is, if we look at the hat, so if we were crocheting, here is our front loop, and here is our back loop. So we are going to put yarn in the back loop. So what you do is you just pull it right on through, and at the end, sorry, it's really hard to show you guys this because of how long the yarn is. So from here, oops, make your 2 pieces of yarn even here, and then in this one you're going to just grab it and loop it right on through, and that is it. So we are going to go around every stitch and we are going to add the yarn to every stitch. So you just line these up, pull that tight, and then pull these right on through. Just like that. And you could do it, if you guys do it this other way with the hook, I just like the way that this knot looks rather than what this would look on the outside of the hat, because when we do our braid, this is going to be shown a little bit. So definitely I highly suggest, unless you like the other way, making sure that your hat is laying straight up and down, not upside down, and then go in with your strands of hair this way. Try it the other way if you like it the other way, absolutely. However, you know, it'll just be a different look. So I am going to get all of this weaved in here, and then I will meet you guys back here when I am done, and we'll go on to our next step. Okay, so hopefully I'm going to be able to show you guys how I do this. This is my head that is attached to the table. It works a lot better than trying to do this free-handed. So I place it right on her, and actually, since this is a customer's hat that I'm sending it to, I'm gonna cover her with a towel, just because I don't want her fake hair to get on, you know, get in between here, and a customer will probably not be very happy about that. Okay, so from this point, what I do is, so here's the back of the hat. So we want the braid to be, here, let me get all of this straight. So we want the braid to be approximately over here. So here's the back of the hat here. So we want it a little bit over. So what I will do then is I will start from this side, and this is going to be really hard to show you guys. Okay, so I'm going to start here, and all you do is you just twist the yarn okay, and about here is where we want the braid. Make sure your yarn is not too knotted. And then with the yarn that I have twisted up here right now, I'm going to just fling that right over the top, but make sure that it's out of the way of this other side. So now we're going to start from where we left off. So right here is where we left off. So I'm going to twist the yarn this way. Oh, don't fall. Okay, so now we're going to join them together, making sure, let me you guys down now, making sure that nothing is left behind and make sure that everything is straight. Okay, and then now, sorry, my dog's playing with herself. Now we just separate this into 3 even parts to braid. And then just make sure that it's tight right here, so you want to make sure to pull it tight. And then you just begin to braid, making sure as you go that the yarn is looking pretty. Okay, I am gonna run out of room. Or here, let me see here if I can scoot you guys back. Okay, and then you just braid until there is not much more yarn left. And it is okay if you see here how pieces of yarn are sticking out. That is okay, because we will just come in and clip those and it'll look perfectly fine after that. Now we are going to, I use these little rubber bands, and I'm just gonna tie it right around here. Don't worry about it being black, because I take a piece of yarn and we're gonna cover it up. Okay, I'm gonna pause this for a minute and I'm gonna take the head off my hat off of the head, and I'll be back. Okay, so here we are. Here is our hat, and now first I'm going to start with trimming all of these pieces. So you just pull it tight and then just cut it from there, and then down here, and then don't forget to turn that braid over, check the back. Okay, so there is our braid. Now, so these long pieces of yarn that I told you guys were important or useful at the end here, I'm going to put it in my needle, and then I just weave it on up to the crown of the hat and pull this on through, and then I place the crown on the hat where I would like it to be stable, and I'm going to secure it a few times. And then pull it through like that and cut this. There we go. So yeah, this just makes it where these you can flip up and they will kind of stay there, but I definitely like them staying up. So all I have left to do here is I'm going to secure the crown to the hat, and then I'm going to take a piece of the turquoise yarn and wrap it around here to add a nice hairband down there. And I'll meet you guys back here when the hat is all the way complete. All right, here is my Elsa hat. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great New Year's, and I am so ready for 2020 to be over. I hope health and happiness for each of you and your families in 2021. Thank you guys. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to you later.